Welcome to Enigmatica 2 Expert. So today I thought I would do a little bit of a world tour. Definitely not complete. I'm at the stage I would consider early game. I haven't quite got into Applied Energistics autocrafting, which is the real where stuff starts to get really fun and interesting. I've just kind of got the basic cables and infrastructure set up, but of course no autocrafting. So I thought this would be a good point to show what I've done early game. The first chapter is just basically getting you into tinkers and getting you some good tools. Side note about tools is I always like to make them a talk. I like to have a silk pickaxe and a fortune pickaxe. I always like to make a spare weapon. So this is a really good weapon. This one's not bad. I should probably switch them out at some point and level this one too. But I always like to have backup tools and gear. And another good tip is very early on, I like to make an ender pouch because these things are tied to ender chests, the white, white, white combination. And I like to use this as a backpack. So if I go and die, I can actually get some of these items out of here just from going to my ender chest that's up there. So this is really cool to use as a backpack because if you die, it's not like you lose it. So looking at this, you'd think I'm almost finished, but I wouldn't even consider myself 30% finished. It's just kind of the way it gets a lot more advanced down here. But all of this is very easy to do without any kind of advanced automation. And XNet is very cool. I know a lot of people don't seem to like it, or you either use it or you don't. But once you start using it, I think it's pretty awesome. And as a quick demonstration of that, this is kind of my control room, I decided. My base is constantly expanding, and I'm not exactly sure what I want to build with. I just kind of want... I'm tired of looking at gray, like, stone, cobblestone, and then even stone bricks. It's always gray. So I'm trying to just play around. I'm not a great builder, but trying. I've got a couple channels. Like channel 1 here. All these devices are exporting stuff that's getting made, and it's all getting input into this crate. And that crate is actually there. Another cool thing about XNet is if you double click that, it tells you, hey, it's over there. So yeah, this is my input. Everything goes in. And right now for my Applied Energistics, all I have are storage buses on these things. And then one of them down there, but it's not full yet. Seared furnace. I'm probably going to change this channel, but basically a lot of stuff that I'm macerating that's going into these storage crates goes into a tinker's seared furnace. And then it, of course, exports the stuff that gets cooked back into my system. And then channel 7, I always like to do this, is liquids. And you can put filters on them, and you can pump every kind of liquid on one channel. So I've got lava and water flowing all in this, and as long as you put filters on your various imports and exports, everything works together, which is really cool. And then, of course, channel 8 is power. Got a couple devices that are exporting power into the system, and then everything that's an input is a user. If you're not familiar too, you can copy and paste. Like I can go copy and paste, and then just really, it's very easy to use this thing. In the very beginning, this was kind of the first thing I set up for automation, early game. I just made a pile of macerators right off the start, a compressor, a bunch of metal formers, so I could have one is extruding, and then these two are rolling, because I needed a lot of plates in the beginning. And then, of course, your block cutter. And every single one of them has a pulling upgrade, ejector upgrade, and an overclocker. In the very beginning, it seems like a lot of work to do it, but it's awesome to be able to run up, throw a bunch of materials in here, and then just come up to the storage crate later, the eject bin, and grab them. But since that was the very first thing I had done, I have since hooked XNet up into it. So every time one of these things ejects a crafted item, it all goes into XNet and it goes into my AE2 terminal. And of course, you can also use XNet to supply lava and fluids. So I've got it keeping this Tinker's smeltery full of lava, and I've also got it keeping the this lava thing full. So anything that gets macerated gets ejected into this, and then after it gets cooked into an ingot, it gets dumped into the Applied Energistics system. And these were my early game power sources. I don't use this anymore, but I would put coal in here or charcoal. Now I just use the lava. And if you're wondering where the lava comes from the ender tank here, you'll see I got it set to orange, orange, orange. And I don't believe this is very expensive. Obsidian, cauldron, a couple ardites. So once you get into the nether, you can get this thing. The Akashic's Tomb, basically, it looks like this, and you can add manuals to it. And I also added my ender book from Cyclic into here. And this thing's actually a teleportation tool. It uses experience. And it's kind of expensive to make, I think, early game, but I found it as a reward. So it only lets you teleport to places in the same dimension. So here's my nether exit to leave. But if I go to lava, this is my simple early game lava setup. I just got a piece of packed ice, thermal generator from Immersive, and then uranium. So this is your hot, your cold, and then these are rewards, I believe. This pump and keeping this tank full. And you'll see this is kind of the diamond shape it'll pump out of. So I'm probably just more than 50% used of lava, but of course I'm just going to move it over here. I need to get into the recycler and the scanner and replicator. I need to get those set up. I just don't have a great power source right now, so that's why I haven't bothered. But in this pack, some items that are pain to craft, like these immersive engineering blocks, they can be replicated, as you see with that tooltip down there. 9.5 millibuckets of UU matter. So that's kind of a pain to craft. Kind of expensive. So if you can get tons of UU matter and this advanced computer, it's crazy. All these little components. So if you can just make one of these with UU matter, it's best to get it set up very, very early on, which is something I should be doing now that I'm saying this. And you're asking, why would you want a computer? Well, to make the digital miner for Mechanism, you need it. And I guess that's it. But if you're lucky, you'll get this as a quest reward. A while back when I played this pack, I went down this fermenter biogas route, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll probably eventually build these items just to get the quest rewards. The farm would be cool, I just typically don't do it. I should unlock these though, because you do need to use these a lot. These electron tubes for advanced crafts, so I've actually made this. This thing's just gating me. Nothing too exciting there. Probably not going to do bees, but Gendustry is in the pack, so if I do decide it, it'll be not too bad. Immersive, favorite mod of mine. It really could be vanilla Minecraft, or as far as I'm concerned, it just has the look and feel. I like these crates too. They're such nice little storage that I just throw junk in that I don't want clogging up my crude energistic system right now. But we go over here. This area is so far away that I forget to finish it. But right off the bat, I said, you know what? I'm throwing a dynamo here and here, here and here. I'm making the water wheels. And I made a windmill there too, just to get the quest unlocked. Because loot crates are awesome. And I'm using medium voltage cables. And I'm powering up my steel maker. And I don't have any coal right now. I usually try to keep the coal running. Have a portable tank in there. And if you didn't know too, if you throw a portable tank and a bunch of wood here, you can actually make treated wood instead of having to do one bucket at a time. Does that make sense? Extra utilities. Usually as a reward, when I've played this pack before, you get nice little light blocks, glass, yellow blocks. What are they called? That doesn't matter. But they're glass windows and they emit light. I like to put them over this thing. And this is going to be the crusher from immersive, and this is going to be the arc furnace from immersive. But of course, I haven't bothered to make those yet. And I'm probably going to have Applied Energistics dumping items into the crusher and the arc furnace. And Applied Energistics isn't tied to any of this right now. And if you're wondering what these lights are, they're from Astral. The cave illuminator is a block you put down, and then it lights up anything that it thinks a cave is. Here's the metal presses. Eventually I'm going to have this hooked to AE2, but right now anything made just goes into the crate. I've got the gear, plate, rod, and string. I think I did it alphabetically. Are there. And then this little kiln that I never use. It's just a quest reward. Down there is going to be my Applied Energistics. I've got a temporary sugarcane farm down here. Oh yeah, the dense ME conduit from Ender.io. And this is all I have for Applied Energistics right now. I'm gonna make more of these, but if you look at the controller, the cost, they can be kind of expensive. It's not too bad, but I'll probably make a block, like a 3x3 cube, out of them. And this is something I've never done before in my playthroughs, but I've started putting these crafting terminals around my base. Like, I've got 4 of them, I think. I usually only ever make 1, but it's so awesome to be able to just get your inventory. Just like that. So this basement is work in progress, but I'm probably going to make it deeper and have auto-crafting from Applied Energistics. All the molecular assemblers, have them all down there. Mechanism, I just slapped it down here. And it's all very temporary. I'm probably going to take it out of the wall and patch the wall back up. But again, I've used XNet, and they got these facades that are really cool. You just right click on something and set it. But yeah, so anytime these things make something, they get sucked back into the system and they go back up there. So this is very awesome for early game stuff. I could just throw in some stuff to crush. Got my furnace here. But of course I'm going to make this bigger. And all my power, you've probably noticed, crudely kind of comes up here. And it goes into the XNet system here. And it also goes into the XNet system here because the XNet system is behind this block pulling power in. And then it distributes power to all these devices. So I'm definitely running into an issue right now where if I run certain machines, it'll kill my network, which I risk losing my AE2 system, the terminal. But of course, since all my items are actually in crates up there and not on disk drives, I can still access them if that happens. And then nuclear craft. These things are very easy to make early game. So I've got a couple of them there. And oh, they're even tied to... The texture looks messed up. So Thaumcraft's a mod I never played with before until this version of Minecraft for this mod pack. So it's not finished, I think, but it works well enough. And I've warmed up to it now that I've watched enough YouTube videos. But I have nothing set up right now. I had crudely set this thing up just to get a quest reward. Killed the dragon. Got this as a quest reward, which is awesome for extra utilities. But yeah, my Applied Energy or my Thaumcraft setup is right here. There's nothing fancy about it. I'm just kind of getting into it. And this won't even be the area that it's in. It's just where it is now. Botania. I made 32 of these flowers, but I only set up 16 of them. And just a crude little setup. Put coal in here, and these things will use up the coal and drops one at a time. Of course, I'm out of coal. This is the landscape. I got an elevated garden. And again, I haven't finished this part of the base yet. Got all my IC2 trees. Integrated dynamics. I don't know why I started growing jungle trees, but they're here. And of course, ender lilies. And the greenhouse glass makes them grow very fast. This thing, if you didn't know, the empty sack of holding, which is very cheap to make, allows you to pick up things you shouldn't. I haven't decided what's going to be on this platform yet, but I'm imagining the wall's actually going to continue, and I'm going to be walking back into the building, I think. I don't want it all open. And this grassy area, I'm probably going to extend it, possibly quite far. Getting kind of sidetracked here. That is a skeleton mob spawner that I picked up with these cardboard boxes for mechanism. Very cheap to make. Uh-oh. I didn't know this when I started building here, but these little uranium nuclear wasteland creatures, they have insanely far tracking. That zombie over there's got a pile of armor on him too. I don't know if you can see that. But anyways, this thing spawns skeletons. And that was a mob slaughter factory. I used it to get pink slime because it's a thing that gates a lot of stuff in this pack. I don't think there's much point showing it, but I guess I'm here talking about it. Pink slime. A lot of the stuff you can use regular slime, but there's a couple crafts in here, like the Stoneworks factory. Require pink slime, so you need it, is the bottom line. The mechanical user is actually quite expensive to make, but what's really cool about the mechanical user, you got to make this computer here, and again, microcrafting. So it took me a long time to make the mechanical user, and you actually got to make 2 of those nasty turtles. But yeah, you put in the sentient sword. I can do that right now, actually. And the will. I can't even talk. This gem needs mob kills, and so if you kill something with this, it gets filled. But the system needs to be turned off, so if I just leave it running, it's going to waste the durability on the sword, so I should take that stuff out. And that's blood magic, if I didn't mention that. What is this thing? This thing is a mob farm. Cursed Earth. Pretty crude setup. I just did it quickly to get armor. Mob crusher. Tons of armor in this pack. All the mobs carry armor, so you get lots of good loot. Bones, string, arrows, gunpowder, rotten flesh. All really good items. And the odd weird tinker's tool. This will get torn down, as will that, and this. But they're just early game, quickly get stuff done. Twilight. There's nothing too exciting to mention in Twilight except for the miner's tree sapling. You can get these things in chests and really big trees. There's like a little cave spider spawner or a swarm spider spawner. But this tree sapling is insane. I should actually show that off. You can pick up the... If you plant this tree, it makes a tree in the shape of a pickaxe, and that thing you can turn on and off by right-clicking on it, and that's the center of the tree. After it pulls all the ores in a nearby area towards it, and it doesn't drop saplings, so you have to be lucky and find more of these saplings to get this device. But what you can do is use the sack of holding or the boxes, I forget which one, and actually pick that thing up and move it, and it'll pull all these ores right towards it. And so what I've done is I've set up this digital miner right above it. So it's actually mining all that stuff below it. My plan was to have Astral up here, and that's what's going to happen. And this thing's going to keep getting bigger and bigger for the different altar tiers. And I don't know exactly what shape this is going to be, but I think I'm going to try to squeeze Thaumcraft in here somewhere and have Astral up there and Botania, of course, down there. And then the Blood Altar. I just got this made. I haven't even done anything with it yet, but I've got it set for whatever altar level this is, 4 or 5. Right now this is tier 1. If I get this part done up with the right blocks, it'll be tier 2 and yada yada yada. I just realized when I hit the hotkey to bring up the schematic, it actually stops my recording. So blood magic, if you've never seen it before, like this is the tier 4 altar. Actually, I'll show the tier 5. So you got the wither beacons, or not the wither beacons. What's this thing called? They go right above that torch. And yeah, that structure is going to be down. And if you've never played with Schematica before, like I haven't, you actually can move stuff around, which is kind of neat. But I don't need to see that right now. So yeah, I've got a lot of automation I have to set up. And the one thing I've done differently with this base too is I've tried to keep everything close together. If we look at the map here, like my magic's here, the meat of my base is right here. And this is the old village. I've trapped a bunch of villagers. I'm going to probably just build vertical. And I'm trying to build taller too, but again, I'm not a good builder, so I don't really know how to build a tower. And it's tricky too, because you don't know what you're going to need, what kind of space you're going to, or what kind of machines you're going to set up. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is it. The color scheme's not great, but I like just not looking at gray. I don't know why that is. I guess I'm just tired of it. There's so much gray in Minecraft. I was kind of at a loss for words there. I'm trying to keep the base together, and I want to show the progression of how I got from early game to mid to the end. And I don't want to destroy all the early game stuff that I made. So I really like this color scheme. I don't know what it is. I just got to get rid of all that boring gray stone. And this is the first time too I've ever built in the Outback. It's kind of interesting. I don't mind it. And I definitely did explore quite a lot of terrain before I decided to settle. There was spawn. I ran all around. Yeah, I settled on this this little area.